mi ṣe wọ́n ṣe jáná ìyàwó. Abu bàbá ọkọ, abu màmá ọkọ. Bó bá ń bá kan sọ̀rọ̀, awú bí búrẹ́dì omi. Amọ́kọ̀ lójú táyì, bẹ́ẹ̀ni kọ́kọ́ ò jẹ́ nǹkankan. Bọ́kọ̀ bá ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀dùn lọ́wọ́ àníbọ̀dá ìpanumọ́. Bọ́kọ̀ bá ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀dùn lọ́wọ́ àníbọ̀dá ìpanudé.
indeed, sharp rock jumps upon the scene with the lean and a pocket full of green. The green doesn't symbolize I made it on the top, but RoboCop last year was a shock. The tone of the Popeye cut shook your butt. Kids are screaming, the media says what? Kind of music is this for you to dance to? The man with the plan and the band demands you. Leave the smack and the crack for the whack, for the ball and the knock, keep a smile like that. Leave the knife and the gun in the store and ignore temptation sent by the nation. Racial game cause his pain needs a new rep in your heart to
jìnnà sí wọn bí sánmọ̀ sílẹ̀ o ara ló ń ta wọn ṣe mọ́ o náà bá sunkún sójú bẹ̀rẹ̀ má ti fi ìgbín sọ kó fẹ́ yẹ ẹyẹ kò lọ ìgbín sọnù sígbó wọn dúró títí ọwọ́ wọn ò tó ìṣó máa ṣe ta ní kókó ṣòkòtò tí olókùn ó dá kìtìyàn ó dórí àwọn lọ́tẹ̀ o. Mi lọ́nà o mo tẹríba fàdàgbà o àgbà ẹ foríjì ni ojoojúmọ́ ni mo ń pọ́n wọn lé mo ń ṣèyá sí àwọn àgbà o mi ò fojú tí rìn wọn láyé ọmọdé ẹ má fàgbà ṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ torí omi kọ́ tó yọlá ni ọmọdé ń bọ̀ wá dàgbà o màmá ń bọ̀ wá dàgbà o.
And there it is right there. So there it is right there. Amonishi. So MC Oluomo, erstwhile the leader of the Agberos in Lagos State, now the leader of the Agberos nationwide. So the leader of the Agbero nationwide, certainly the leader of the Agberos on social media, certainly within the YouTube space, that bald-headed or you are laughing at one man went to more. So here I am, there you are. And here we are. So good to see you. Good to be in your company. Would you believe that I still start nervously? I'm not even sure quite how many of these things I've done, but every single one I still start nervously, trying to get myself into gear. So gear up. So get myself into gear and to gear up. So yes, click on the like button just as soon as you hear me invite you to do so. So click on the like button. If you haven't done that already, please click on it. And then subscribe only if you are not already subscribed. So I feel I must say that because you know what I've noticed is when I invite people to subscribe, people that are already subscribed, they go on to click on that subscription button anyway. So that unsubscribes you. So if you're already subscribed, don't click on anything. It's to people that are not already subscribed that I'm inviting to subscribe. because I have noticed that if I click on, if I ask people to subscribe, some people already subscribe still go on and click on it, which then unsubscribes them. So click on subscribe only if you are not already subscribed. So click on subscribe if you are not already subscribed. Click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard if you want to come and engage in the conversation. If you want to come and join us on the screen, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard. Yes, share the links as widely as you can. Super chat only if you feel inclined to. We are pushing for the super chats, but we don't want to overlabor it. But of course, it lubricates the streams, but we don't want to be inelegant about it. So we don't want to be inelegant about it, but we want to encourage it nevertheless. So click on like, click on subscribe, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard. Share the links as widely as you can. Super chat if you feel that way inclined, as you're being encouraged there by Niger Man. So do all those things. Do all those funky nice things. Do all those funky nice things. Continuing this campaign, this is Ejele Speaks right there on your screen. Still held in custody. We're still pushing for his total release. Hashtag Free Ejele Speaks. Any and everywhere you go on social media, hashtag Free Ejele Speaks. So hashtag Free Ejele Speaks and hashtag now Free One Man Went to Mo. So hashtag Free One Man Went to Mo. So there I am. So there it is. And here we go. So there I am. Here it is. And here we go. Seems to be the currency now. There's not still an abundance of items within the news cycle. But as always the case, we still manage to wrap a session round what is available. And of course, it will be an epic session. When have you ever been here and it's not been an... I was listening to yesterday's session. The of course, my beat was decent, but please, if you haven't watched it, go watch the session that are handled by Chioma. She initiated a conversation that then led to one of the most glorious discussions we've yet had on this platform. I'm going to be clipping it and posting it as a standalone. It speaks to the Biafra war thing. Because yesterday, of course, was the anniversary of the Biafra War. So she initiated that conversation, and it was one of the most delightful conversations I've yet heard on this platform. So not in the course of this session, but after this session, go and listen to Chioma's bit of last night's session. I'll recommend it. I was actually listening to it just before we came on now, and I'll continue to listen to it after I come off again. So it was such an epic session. Baba was there, Patrick was there, and the depth of knowledge of that space was there. Simba was there. Even Mike turned up to come and put his Yorubaist inflection. It was just a glorious little space. So there is Boson right there, aligning himself with the campaign hashtag Free Ejele Speaks. So there is Ja Unzola, as Kaiser would say, it, feeding the starving Africans. Well, but there it is. So there it is. So join those two characters then in that. So let me just leave all that. Let's launch into it, shall we? Because I'm now starting to stutter and flutter. Actually, let me play you one more music. I feel as though I'm not geared up yet. Let me play you one more music to gear up. Let me play you a bit of Fulani rap.
I wish I go back to the old days when I used to be the kid in the 3rd grade, playing in the street with my homies all day. Cause we live so fast, now we can't relate. We come a long way, money can't wait. And no worry about a thing, happy all days. This is how we live, we cannot complain. And nobody leave, keep the old plans. Hey, when I'm better, Mingati Zuda Kari Party. Kodomin money, domin darty. Yo, go to phone it, bunny bucket as your party. And when I'm better, Mingati Zuda Kari Party. Kodomin money, domin darty. Yo, go to phone it, bunny bucket as your party. Hey,
all right, enough of all that. So let's just get into it, shall we? So we get into it, picking up from where we left off yesterday somewhat. We're still within that narrative of that narrative of Lamido Sanusi, who came out. So he came out yesterday, actually, and he released this little snippet that shook the entirety of the nation. So here is Lamido Sanusi speaking to the Tinubu administration via this clip. So we pick it up from here. You saw this yesterday, but it builds up into this article on your screen.
To be honest, I can stand here today and I can give a few points that are contrary, a few points that explain perhaps what we're going through and how it was totally predictable, most of it, and maybe avoidable. But I'm not going to do that. I've chosen not to speak about the economy and the reforms or to even explain anything because if I explain, it would help this government, and I don't want to help the government. I don't want to help this government. You know, they're my friends. If they don't behave like friends, I don't behave like a friend. So I watch them being stewed, and they don't even have people with credibility who can come and explain what they're doing. But I'm not going to help. I started out helping, but I'm not going to help. I'm not going to discuss it. Let them come and explain to Nigerians why the policies that are being pursued are being pursued. And meanwhile, I'm watching a very nice movie with popcorn in my hands. I'm watching them stew. But I will say one thing. What we are going through today is at least in part, not totally, at least in part, a necessary consequence of decades of irresponsible economic management.
So that was Lamido Sanusi right there, as early as yesterday, saying let them stew, inviting the administration to fester in their own in their own excrements. Let me put it that way. Let them eat cake, as Marie Antoinette said. Let them eat cake is what he was saying. So I could help them, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to get myself a glass of juice because it doesn't drink wine because it's Muslim, and I'll watch them then with popcorn being stewed by the nation. So that's what Lamido Sanusi said. But that caught a lot of people off guard. It caught a lot of people off guard because the association of Lamido Sanusi and the people in government at the moment, it goes deep and it goes way back. These are people that have been conspiring against the Nigerian state. These are his fellow co-travelers in the looting and all of the things that they've been doing with that country for so long. So for him now to make this 360-degree turn, it caught a lot of people off guard. He especially caught a lot of people off guard because as early as 12 months ago, this was what the same Lamido Sanusi was saying about this administration. Watch
Francis,
this.
My brother. We've been friends since his first term as governor of Lagos State when I was a banker. And I have not seen him since the elections. I wanted to give him time to settle down. So the first reason was to come and congratulate him formally. But also I wear many caps. I wear the cap of an economist. So I came to thank him for the steps he has taken to put this economy on course. As you know, many of the issues that we have been talking about, the subsidy that has caused a hemorrhage on the fiscus, the multiple exchange rate regimes, and so on. These are issues that I have personally been talking about for a long time. And I'm happy that on his very first day, he has addressed these issues and the markets are happy. And it is important when the government does the right thing for us to give them feedback. It's not always when they do a wrong thing that you complain. So,
to be honest, I can stand here today and I can give a few points that are contrary, a few points that explain perhaps what we're going through and how it was totally predictable, most of it, and maybe avoidable. But I'm not going to do that. I've chosen not to speak about the economy and the reforms, or to even explain anything, because if I explain, it would help this government, and I don't want to help the government. I don't want to help this government. You know, they're my friends. If they don't behave like friends, I don't behave like a friend. So I watch them being stewed, and they don't even have people with credibility who can come and explain what they're doing.
All right. So there it is right there. They say a week is a long time in politics. Certainly 12 months is an eternity in politics. So you just saw the confluence then between one extreme position and this other diametric opposition being straddled by the same person. So that's a Lamido Sanusi right there within the space of 12 months, holding sharply contrasting opinions about the administration and situation. So how is the government digesting all this? Sanusi's shift in loyalty behind latest outburst against Tinubu's reforms, says federal government. Read Emir's words, but why? So let's see how the government is digesting this. The federal government has blamed shift in loyalty for the latest outburst against President Bola Tinubu's reforms by Emir of Kano, Mohamedou Sanusi II. The government's reaction was contained in a statement signed by Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, and released in the early hours of Thursday. Sanusi had reportedly lamented over the handling of reforms. Let me take that entirely all over again. It's just reading in a rather stilted manner. I'm the one reading it, of course, but it's not flowing like I wanted to. The federal government has blamed switching loyalty for the latest outburst against President Bola Tinubu's reforms by Emir of Kano, Mohamedou Sanusi II. Government's reaction was contained in a statement signed by Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, and released in the early hours of Thursday. Sanusi had reportedly lamented over the handling of reforms by the government, but said he won't help. However, the federal government said, in part, in its reaction, that it is deeply disappointing that reforms widely recognized as essential by global experts, including by Emir Sanusi II himself, are now being subtly condemned by him because of a shift in loyalty. So what does that shift in loyalty mean? That is the million-dollar question. The federal government the federal government therefore suggested that Sanusi's outburst may be in pursuit of his personal interest. So we all know what that personal interest is. I was actually having conversations with somebody earlier on today, and we were discussing then that maybe Sanusi feels abandoned, that it's not being backed by the federal government in its pursuit of the Kano Emirate throne. So I think that might well be what is pushing out. The federal government therefore suggested that Sanusi's outburst may be in pursuit of his personal interest. The information minister said, "We acknowledge that Sanusi, and indeed any Nigerian, has the inalienable right to express an opinion, either in the form of commendation or criticism on how the government is being run. However, we find it amusing that a leader, more so one from an institution that ennobles, not enables, but ennobles forthrightness, fairness, and justice, will publicly admit to shuffling off saying the truth because of personal interest hinged in imaginary antagonism." So there's a lot of ambiguity in that, but essentially, I don't think it varies too much from what I've just suggested there. Lamido Sanusi is in pursuit of the Kano State emirship throne is in contention with the Ado Bayero family, and there's a divide within that Kano Emirate space as to who exactly the Emir of Kano is. Lamido Sanusi has the expectations that the Tinubu administration would back him because he leans more towards them in terms of global views and in terms of relationships. So it's somewhat disappointed then that it's not getting that lean too. It's almost as though the government is actually leaning against him rather than leaning towards him. And it is that that outburst then is an outspill of the frustrations of that, or a calculated move to say, come on board, back me or I'll F you up. It's essentially around that somewhat. Pardon me. Federal government statement signed by the Minister of Information titled, "We don't need Sanusi's stamp of approval for our laudable policies," read in full. The federal government notes the recent remarks by His Highness Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II regarding the economic reforms introduced under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration at a public event in Lagos. We note the Emir's acknowledgement of the noble initiatives which he said he could explain away, but for his decision not to help the government. First, we acknowledge that Sanusi, and indeed any Nigerian, has the inalienable right to express an opinion, either in the form of commendation or criticism, on how the government is being run. However, we find it amusing that a leader, more so one from an institution that ennobles forthrightness, fairness, and justice, will publicly admit to shuffling off saying the truth because of personal interest hinged on imaginary antagonism. It is pertinent to state that Nigeria is at a pivotal juncture where bold and decisive actions are necessary to tackle entrenched economic challenges. This administration has implemented transformative reforms, not because they are easy, but because they are essential for securing Nigeria's long-term stability and growth, as Emir Sanusi consistently advocated. The temporary pains currently experienced, so it goes on and on. It speaks to the reform. So I'm just wanting to say, okay, let me pick it up from here. It is deeply disappointing that reforms widely recognized as essential by global experts, including Emir Sanusi II himself, are now being subtly condemned by him because of a shift in loyalty. His Highness, given his background in economics, has a unique responsibility to contribute constructively rather than undermine reforms aimed at collective progress because he feels estranged from his friends in government. So it's all wrapped around the narrative of the government not backing him in his battle for the Kano Emirate throne. We urge the Emir to rise above personal interest and partisan undertones and prioritize the greater good of Nigerians. Rebuilding, yes, I think that essentially is, yeah, so that's it right there. So I think the tone and texture of the government's response somewhat lends towards what we are concluding as well, that it wants Tinubu to deal a decisive blow on the Ado Bayero family for him then to seize full charge of the, they broke up the Kano Emirate and all of that. Do you remember what Ganduje said about him? I think I've actually got it here, actually. Do you remember what Ganduje said about Sanusi?
He's an economist, but he failed to understand. In economics, you have to inherit assets and liability. But in economy, he only inherited the assets of the traditional institution by giving orders, staying in a mansion, dressing gorgeously, being addressed as a king. But the liability of that institution, you have to watch your words. You have to watch your tongue. And he didn't do that. That was a problem. That was the biggest problem, that he could not change his mode of life from social critic to an institution. As of now, that institution does not afford a social critic of his type. You will have problem with the society. He was destroying the institution. This tongue that you are seeing is a very dangerous organ in the body. In fact, even politicians, the greatest enemy of a politician is his tongue. Because you said something yesterday, and today you are contradicting yourself. That is your tongue. That is why God in his mercy decided to provide so many layers for the tongue. You have the lips, you have the teeth in order to protect your tongue, and it is also left in a liquid so that it doesn't come brittle. All these are arrangements in order to have a break for the tongue. But Sanusi was able to.
So that is Gandola right there telling us then that Lamido Sanusi is a bit too loose with his lips. It's actually funny actually. This Lamido Sanusi is actually an enigmatic sort of a personality. Is an emir of noble blood. His bloodline goes back thousands of years. Is the leader of the Tijaniya sect of Islam that cascades all through the Sahel. So he's a very senior man in a notable economist. He was actually voted the economist of the year globally twice in a row when he was the CBN governor. So is at the top of the table by whatever metrics you are using to measure life. But he doesn't just know how to handle public utterances. A bit too fast and loose with his lips. Essentially what Ganduje was saying there. A bit too fast and loose with his opinions. So too fast and loose with his opinions. Let's go on from that to this. It looks as though now there's no stopping now these tax reform bills. It looks as though the governors have been onboarded, but they want somewhat of a variation in it, especially around the VAT one. I did actually have a clip of this, but I'm not sure if I downloaded it. At last, Nigerian governors support Tinubu's tax reform, so there is no stopping it now. I'm ready to butt heads, Tinubu said, and they all brittled and caved. The Nigeria Governors Forum has expressed support for President Tinubu's tax reforms. So my only concern is that they don't water down this tax reform before it gets through Parliament. We want it in the fullness of its potency. Otherwise, it serves no purpose. At last, Nigeria governors support Tinubu's tax reforms. The Nigeria Governors Forum has expressed support for President Bola Tinubu's tax reforms. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Kaduna State Governor Obasa on Thursday. The forum expressed its strong support for the reform of the tax system, Sani said. This possibly brings to an end the opposition to the tax reforms by the governors. President Tinubu had insisted the bills will be allowed to go through the legislative process. Also, it is not clear if all the National Assembly members will toe the line of the governors going forward. Governor Sani's statement posted on his former Twitter handle reads, "Today, I join other members of the Nigeria Governors Forum at the sub-national consultation and engagement with the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms, which was held at the Conference Hall, Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. The meeting deliberated on critical national issues, including the reform of Nigeria's fiscal policies and tax system. The event afforded governors and other stakeholders the opportunity to critically x-ray the tax reform bills and seek clarification on a number of issues. I had the privilege of moderating the session on feedbacks and concerns from subnationals. After extensive discussions, the Nigeria Governors Forum released a communique signed by the chairman, His Excellency Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. The forum expressed its strong support for reform of the tax system and endorsed a revised value-added tax. So this is where I think this is the one people then that they had, the one addendum that they wanted to add to the tax reform bill. So this is the addendum. The forum expressed its strong support for reform of the tax system and endorsed a revised value-added tax as follows: 50% based on equality, 30% based on derivation, and 20% based on population. This will ensure equitable distribution of resources. I'm not quite sure what formula was proposed. If anybody can recall the formula that was proposed by the Oyedele committee, I'm not quite sure what variation has just taken, because this looks consistent with what was already there. So 50% based on equality, 30% based on derivation, and 20% based on population. So the equality is a sharing across the board of that 50%. And then the 30% is based on derivation. So the 30% derivation is really where the potency is. So the 30% derivation then is that if VAT is, and the VAT, by the way, is being calculated from the consumption level at the last point of contact. So let's use beer as an example. So if beer is being manufactured somewhere, let's say in Jalingo or Abakaliki, so the VAT is not taken from that main hub of manufacturing. No, the VAT is taken at the point of consumption. So if it's being manufactured in let's say, for instance, Gouda beer is being manufactured in Abakaliki, so the VAT is not the derivation or the credit for the VAT does not go to the point of manufacture, which is in Abakaliki. Let's say that Gouda beer now is being consumed in Jalingo. So however much is consumed in Jalingo, that quotient is then attributed to Jalingo as their VAT entitlement. So that is just the loose understanding of what that 30% based derivation means. And then 20% based on population, that's self-explanatory. So that's the new formula then that that's the new formula then that the state governors seem to be putting forward. So the forum expressed its strong support for reform of the tax system and endorsed a revised value-added tax VAT as follows: 50% based on equality, 30% based on derivation, and 20% based on population. This will ensure equitable distribution of resources. The forum also resolved that there should be no increase in VAT rates or reduction in corporate income tax at this time to maintain economic stability, whilst advocating for the continued exemption of essential goods and agricultural products from VAT to safeguard the welfare of citizens and promote agricultural productivity. The forum recommended that there should be no terminal clause. There should be no terminal clause for TED Fund, NACINI, NITATDA in the sharing of development levy in the bills. So I know what TED Fund is, that's the ring-fenced fund for tertiary education. The Nigeria Governors Forum supports the continuation of the legislative process at the National Assembly that will culminate in the passage of the tax reform bill. So it looks as though then there is no stopping that tax reform bill anymore. It's all systems go. and it will go through Parliament. So for all of the noise that we were hearing from that the North does not this and the North does not that, FUCK, the North, is what Tinubu said. FUCK, the North. From that to this, so do you remember that Jam Javid, no, not that Jam, do you remember that Igwe in Lagos State that was inviting them that it was going to bring IPOB security guards to come and man Igbo markets, and it was summarily arrested. So it looks as though he has now had his day in court. Breaking, Lagos court clears Igbo chief Frederick Nwajagu of terrorism charges, sentences him to 12 months for impersonation. So yes, I did think that terrorism charge was too heavily weighted for what he had to say. I thought there was a political undertone to that charge. Actually, Lagos court clears Igbo chief Frederick Nwajagu of terrorism charges, sentences him to 12 months for impersonation. So who was he impersonating? A Lagos State High Court sitting in Tafawa Balewa Square. Do we even want the name Tafawa Balewa Square changed? I thought they were indigenizing everything now. Do we want Tafawa Balewa Square changed? Do you know that Tafawa Balewa Square actually belongs to Alexander Gomez's family? So they are the landlords of that space. A Lagos State High Court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square has discharged and acquitted Eze Ndigbo of Ajao Estate, Lagos, Frederick Nwajagu of all the terrorism charges filed against him following his incarceration in Ikoyi prison since 2023. On April the 5th, 2023, a Lagos State Magistrates Court in Yaba ordered Nwajagu's remand at the Ikoyi custodial sentence, while subsequent efforts to secure his bail were denied by the Lagos State High Court. Nwajagu was accused of threatening to invite members of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB to Lagos to protect the lives and property of Igbo people if the federal government failed to safeguard them against attacks. However, the court, convicted and sentenced him. I don't know quite who wrote this, but they're making this a funny read. However, the court, convicted and sentenced him to 12 months imprisonment for the offense of parading himself as a certified chief in Lagos State, contrary to the Oba and chief's laws of Lagos State. You know, if they want to slam you in prison, there's so many auxiliary laws that you can that you do even infract. You know, we have laws around vagrancy in Nigeria. We have laws around wandering. You can be walking down the road, and the authorities can say you are a vagrant because you were wandering, like just walking aimlessly, and they can charge you with vagrancy law. So if they want to get you, there's so many they can get you within the ambit of the law. So now this guy now calls himself Eze Ndigbo. But then, of course, the laws in Lagos State forbids you claiming to be any sort of a chieftain without actually being conferred via their system. And that's how they got him. However, the court, convicted and sentenced him to 12 months imprisonment for the offense of parading himself as a certified chief in Lagos State, contrary to the Oba and chief's laws of Lagos State. Correspondents gathered that Nwajagu, who was standing trial before Justice Yewande Adesanya of the Lagos State High Court since 2023 on 9 counts bordering on an attempt to commit acts of terrorism, financing terrorism, participating in terrorism, and meeting to support a proscribed entity, was discharged and acquitted on Wednesday, January the 15th, 2025. I wonder if they will count what he has served in lieu and then it will just be released. Chief Fabian Nwagalu, one of the lawyers representing Nwajagu, disclosed that the court's final decision in a statement made available to correspondents on Thursday. Galu said, Eze Fred, I don't call him Eze anymore because that's what's gotten him into trouble. Is he an Eze? Galu said, and by the way, let me send the link to the comment section. Anybody that wants to come in, come in. We need people to come and join in order for the conversation to take place. We need active participation. Otherwise, we don't have the main hub of it is the conversation, not my commentaries or my readouts. No, I think people just endure that to get to the conversation. So if you want to come join in the conversation, click on that hyperlink that says StreamYard, hop in. So click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard, hop in. Right, Omugalu said, Eze Fred Nwajagu, Eze Igbo, Ajao's estate, Lagos State, was thrown into detention by the Lagos State government for terrorism and other offenses, allegedly for making a video warning Olu Omo and other Yoruba youths to cease persecution of Indigbo and burning of Igbo-dominated markets in Lagos State, or else it will be compelled to invite IPOB to secure Igbo markets and assets in Lagos State. The Lagos State government abysmally failed to prove any of the ingredients of the offense of terrorism charges against the young Eze Igbo. Which young Eze Igbo? Is this the young Eze Igbo? That's the young Eze Igbo. It must be the better part of 70 years right there. Right. The Lagos State government abysmally failed to prove any of the ingredients of the offense of terrorism charges against the young Eze Igbo, and the High Court Koram Adesanya J discharged and acquitted him of all the counts of terrorism-related offenses. He was, however, convicted and sentenced to 12 months imprisonment for the offense of parading himself as a certified chief in Lagos State, contrary to the Oba and Chief laws of Lagos State. Having been incarcerated for almost 2 years, he was ordered to be released immediately. Yes, I did think that the sentence has been served in lieu. Onwagalu said even though it was painful that Nwajagu was incarcerated, he maintained that the court victory is for Igbo people all over. You see, this is the tone that will lead him back to prison again. And this is a lawyer, by the way, speaking. This Onwagalu there, speaking on behalf of Nwajagu, is a lawyer. That's his lawyer, and he's turned it into an IPOB thing already. Nwagalu said even though it was painful that Nwajagu was incarcerated, he maintained that the court victory is for Igbo people all over the world, especially those in Lagos State who are being persecuted and dehumanized just because of their tribal leaning. So, anyway, we'll see where this leads, but it's never going to lead anywhere good. He, however, vowed that their team will appeal Nwajagu's conviction for parading himself as a chief in Lagos State, claiming that the prosecution did not prove the offense to warrant the conviction. He stated that the Eze Igbo institution is not recognized by the law of Lagos State and so have nothing to do with the Oba and chiefs. So I don't think quite what sort of a lawyer this guy is. If the Eze Igbo institution is not recognized by the laws of Lagos State, then the laws of Lagos State then forbade anybody conferred with any title by that institution from parading themselves as a chieftain within Lagos State So the only way that goes through that is for this is the Igbo institution to regularize itself within the ambit of Lagos state laws. I mean, this is that narrative of Lagos is no man's land, isn't it? It's just the rascality of it. Also, the conviction offends the fundamental rights of freedom of association of Indigbo in Lagos State. If he dropped the Indigbo, there might well be, because I somewhat agree as well, actually, that you cannot compel him not to parade. If somebody was given are you saying then that the Obi of Onitsha is not an Obi of Onitsha if he visits Lagos State? It's just Mr. Alfred or whatever his name is. So that law even doesn't make sense. Also, the conviction offends the fundamental rights of freedom of association of Indigbo in Lagos State. He said, I am happy to be amongst the council in the defense team who diligently offered their services pro bono. So I always hear these people claiming that, they take this high profile case and then they are saying they are doing it pro bono. You're not doing it pro bono, no, because in terms of the publicity that generates, in fact, you should be paying the guy for the publicity that it generates both to your name and to your firm. Europe is starting to feel the heat from Dangote's oil refinery. So a lot of people will starve off the back of Dangote's juggernaut enterprise. A lot of European enterprises will fall down. And this is coming from Africa Business Insider, by the way. So this is from the international space. Europe is starting to feel the heat, that's HEAT, from Dangote's oil refinery. Pardon me. Dangote's efforts to ramp up production of premium motor spirit petrol in Nigeria is starting to affect Europe's PMS market. The report by OPEC, as highlighted in the Punch newspaper, claimed that the Dangote refinery has cut down Nigeria's imports of petroleum products from Europe. The ongoing operational ramp-up efforts at Nigeria's new Dangote refinery and its gasoline petrol exports to the international market will likely weigh further on the European gasoline market, the report states. Continued gasoline production in Nigeria, a country that has relied heavily on imports to meet its domestic fuel needs in the past, will most likely continue to free up gasoline volumes in the international market, which will call for new destinations and flow adjustments for the extra volumes going forward. So there will be no extra volumes now. There'll be just because a lot of those European and I think there's a lot of Dutch and Eastern European refineries geared especially towards the Nigerian market. They will simply have to fold, because the Nigerian market constitutes a good 30-40% of their business hub, and that's no longer available because the government bans importation, except of course the local refineries cannot satiate the needs of the country, and Dangote can over satiate the needs of Nigeria. So there's absolutely no reason for the country to import any petrol anymore. And all of those European countries, and even as far flung as Asia, we know that there are blending plants in Malta, etc. All of these places will have to fold up because a good abundance of their business plan gears towards the Nigerian market. Continued gasoline production in Nigeria, a country that has relied heavily on imports to meet its domestic fuel needs in the past, will most likely continue to free up gasoline volumes in international markets, which will call for new destinations and flow adjustments for the extra volumes going forward. So there it is right there. According to the OPEC report, notwithstanding the fact that gasoline stockpiles at the Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Antwerp storage hubs remain strong, the gasoline crack spread in Rotterdam against Brent scaled somewhat on robust exports. So those are is just getting a bit too, but you know the broad strokes of it. Let's not get into technical terms because I don't understand those technical terms. But essentially, Dangote coming on board is bankrupting all those European refineries. So no, I feel those sympathy for them. At the Atlantic Basin gasoline balance, gasoline balance extends as a result of winter season demand side pressures. I don't know. Let me just abandon that. It's getting beyond my comprehension, but there it is right there. Actually, I'm not sure. Do we even? Okay, let me pick it from this paragraph. Early projections for the Dangote refinery. In October 2024, it was reported that the Dangote oil refinery was gearing up to take in around 400,000 barrels of Nigerian crude daily over the next few months, shaking up Africa's oil trade. The report indicated that the Dangote refinery intended to take in 13 to 14 shipments from Nigeria's usual monthly program of about 50 cargoes. Experts at the time revealed that the Dangote refinery might end the decades-long gasoline trade from Europe to Africa, which is valued at 17 billion naira per year. In April, Bloomberg ranked the Dangote refinery above the 10 largest refineries scattered across Europe. So this is it then. So that's Dangote refinery versus the rest of Europe, and I think it beats them hands down. So the largest one is Shell Pernis, which I think may well be somewhere in France. They have capacity for 404,000. And Dangote is 650,000. So that's Dangote right there, putting the Europeans out of business. So let's go on from there to this. Alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. EFCC arraigned Oba Otudeko, others on Monday. So I think this is Otedola then trying to sanitize the Nigerian financial sector. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Monday will arraign the chairman, Honeywell Group, Chief Oba. So it's not an actual Oba, but that's his name, Oba. I thought it was an actual king that was being arraigned by EFCC. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission will on Monday arraign the chairman, Honeywell Group, Chief Oba Otudeko over alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. The suit also names a former managing director of First Bank, Olabisi Onosoya, an ex-Honeywell board member, etc., etc. So I think it's the EFCC accused the defendants of obtaining 12.3 billion naira from First Bank Limited on the pretense that they said some represented credit facilities applied for by VTech Dynamic Links Limited and Stallion Nigeria Limited between 2013-2014. They were also accused of obtaining 6.2 billion naira from First Bank on the pretense that the said sum of money represented credit facilities applied for and disbursed to, etc., etc. So yes, so that's Otedola then trying to sanitize the Nigerian financial sector. Tinubu government celebrates Naira at 1,500 to the dollar 19 months after it's traded for 780 to the dollar. So yes, when it was trading at 780 to the dollar, it was heavily subsidized. About 19 months after the Nigerian currency collapsed from 780 naira to 1,700 per dollar, President Bola Tinubu's government celebrated the currency's slight recovery as it currently trades at about 1,500 to the dollar. On May the 29th, when Mr. Tinubu assumed office as president, the naira traded at about $780 to the dollar. However, since Mr. Tinubu announced the exchange rate unification a few days after taking office, the naira has been on a free fall, hitting 1,700 at one point. Sharing a Bloomberg report on the naira's recent recovery on X on Thursday, Bayo Ononuga, the presidential spokesperson, described the currency's rebound from about 1,700 per dollar to 1,500 naira per dollar as good news. The naira is holding its ground against the greenback and other currencies. This is good news, not bad news, Mr. Ononuga wrote. To taunt Peter Obi of the Labour Party, an opposition leader and vocal critic of the Tinubu-led government, Mr. Ononuga said, I invite Mr. Peter Obi to retweet the exhilarating story. So Peter Obi not likely to ever tweet anything that is good news. He wants the country to fail, of course, so that he can, I don't know what, if the country fails, it still doesn't open up an opportunity for him, but he clearly wants the country to fail. It is an unpatriotic sort of a character. Mr. Ononuga's tweet has sparked reactions from Nigerians. Some debunked Bloomberg's claim, stating that the naira currently trades at over 1,600 per dollar rather than 1,500, whilst others noted that the Tinubu administration inherited the naira at 780, just under 800. So there it is right there. The naira is starting to establish its value. That's just what we're saying there. So that's what we're saying there. Let me send the link again. See if anybody wants to come in. If anybody wants to come in, you know. Yes, if anybody wants to come in. So that's the link right there. Let me go on to another one. Oh yeah, this just the one I was just reading now. Peter Obi should spread the news. Bayo Ononuga reacts to report of naira holding ground against dollar. So Peter Obi would never tweet anything that is good or positive about Nigeria, no, because it doesn't serve its purpose to do that. So let's go on to this one. Why police arrested detained ex-Dunamis pastor Abraham Daniel sources. So yeah, so I'll just leave that at the headline. If anybody knows anything about that, you want to talk about it, come talk about it. So this now the last readout, and then I'll send the link again. Anybody wants to come in. Obasa to be arrested upon return to Nigeria to face EFCC probe over alleged 43.5 billion naira fraud. So there it is right there. I think they want to decimate him completely, this Obasa guy. The embattled Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, is set to face intense scrutiny from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, following his impeachment on Monday over allegations of misappropriation of 43.5 billion naira in state funds. If you see this guy's house in America, by the way, you think that he probably stole more than that. Sources within the anti-graft agency revealed to correspondents that Obasa, who was impeached after a damning report by the platform, exposed his lavish spending on luxury backup vehicles, is expected to be arrested upon his return to Nigeria from the United States. An EFCC insider speaking on the condition of anonymity said, the evidence against him is overwhelming. This time, it won't be able to wriggle out. The case has been meticulously compiled, and we are ready to take action. Obasa, who had previously faced an EFCC probe in 2020 for allegedly spending 1.1 billion naira within a week, was cleared without charges. However, this time, officials believe his chances of escaping prosecution are slim. Heavy hammer is waiting to fall on him, the source added, emphasizing the agency's resolve to ensure accountability. The once powerful speaker appears to have lost the backing of influential allies, including President Bola Tinubu. Correspondents learned that sources close to the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbadabiamila, disclosed that Obasa's calls have gone unanswered, signaling deliberate isolation from the presidency. His political connections have dried up. He is on his own, a source familiar with the situation said. With his impeachment and pending EFCC investigation, this is the guy that was telling us barely a week ago that is going to be the next governor of Lagos State. Now, his prayers now is just to escape the clutches of EFCC. With his impeachment and pending EFCC investigation, Obasa's political future hangs in the balance. Questions remain about whether he will return to Nigeria to assume a lesser role as a floor member of the House of Assembly or continue to evade scrutiny. The EFCC has assured that there will be no disruption in its plans to apprehend Obasa on his arrival. We have no political interference at all. He will clarify things to our detectives. So there it is right there. So they're going to keep him, they're going to keep him busy for the next 2 years. I think he's probably just forgotten any thoughts now of being the next governor of Lagos State. All he now just wants is not to end up in prison. So that's Obasa right there. The fate of Obasa. Let me play you the clips that we do have, and then if nobody turns up, we call it a night. So here is a parliamentarian that disgraced himself. This is the sort of Nigeria we have at the moment.
By recognition coming from the list coming from the Department of
just say I move for the rescission of my first motion.
Okay,
of my amendment, yes.
I rise to move the motion as the decision move as amended. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I move to rescind the decision, the resolution of the first motion I move.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, sorry, sir. I rise and I move to the issue to recite
the resolution of the first amendment
moved by first motion.
Sadly, that semi-illiterate parliamentarian is some Amala Muncher from my own home state. That that empty between the ears. It can't speak a simple sentence, and it can't even repeat a simple sentence, and it's there passing laws. It's unbelievable. Just some tribal marked Amala Muncher from somewhere in Oyo. So that's who he is right there. So now on to this next one. So that was an example of how not to do it. So this next example is an example of how to do it. I'm so impressed that the parliament applauded. Watch this.
So I think the minister has been extremely detailed. I've attended some other budget defense. I can't recall anyone where the minister has been as exhaustive as he has been to us. And I do also understand that when you are dealing with, we had a senator who was one of us. He's now more minister than a senator. So he's more about character. It's not But it goes without saying that you'll be in the house gives you a deeper insight into why we want to find out how you spend your budget. But I think even coming from the members, we want to congratulate you for what you've done in 2024. And you were a lot younger in 2024 than you are going to be in 2025. But I hope your energy will still be there and your experience will be much, much deeper. So now we thank you for your presentation. I believe we are satisfied with your explanation. If there are more questions, like you said, after this budget season, we can have a special session to discuss those.
So the minister being patted on the back there was Bumi Ojo, who seems to be one of no more than 3-4 ministers that are performing within the Tinubu administration. He gave them, and it was the one that implemented his budget the most out of all of the ministers that are reporting back to Parliament. So he gave them such a detailed breakdown that the Parliament could not help but applaud, as we saw with Oshiomhole right there. So as we saw with Oshiomhole right there, so now this next one is the Nigerian Police Force presenting to the Parliament, looking to defend their budget. But how did the Parliament react to it? What this?
Mr. Chairman, Mark Eset is my name from Akwa Ibom State. Okay, point of order, Mr. Chairman. Am I recognized, Mr. Chairman? Thank you very much. I am from Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I'm the only person, but I doubt. What the IGP is reading is quite different from the document we have here. No, sir, we are all here for budget. It's very, very important that whatever they are presenting, all members will be acquainted with it. You can't give me a copy after this. It's not the same thing. The details are not here, like the zonal offices he has mentioned. They are not captured here.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Please, Senator, please. Make it easy. It is our decision within the leadership of this committee to allow IG to summarize his presentation.
No, Chairman, we're not in a hurry. We are not in a hurry. We must do the right thing. We are not in the chamber. You are there to wait for the collective. You have it. It's not in this copy. What is written is a new copy was sent to you. Check and see it. If you just have a copy, ask for the copy. This is not a big deal. You ask for the copy. The copy is there available.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm still on the floor. I'm still on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
We need the opinion of all the members. Can we allow IG to proceed with what he's reading?
No, we don't have it. We don't have it. Then I will leave. I will leave. What are we reading now? What do you want to do? Leave. We are acting in the head. Leave. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Deputy Chief Whip. Deputy Chief Whip. Deputy Chief Whip. Deputy Chief Whip. Mr. Chairman.
Point of order, please. Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues. We are here to serve Nigerians. And Nigerians should see us as a very serious institution. We are not against the presentation of the IGP, but I, as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, should have what the IGP is reading. Yes. Exactly. Please let me finish. I represent a section of this country. What the IGP is reading is different from what I have. And I'm going to ask questions. Let me finish.
Before you finish, I'm the chair, please.
So there it is right there. So it got rather rowdy actually. I was half expecting them to start throwing chairs, you know, like we see from all these parliamentary somethings that we see from places like Kenya and stuff like that, where they throw punches in their parliament. But the nub of it is that you know, I wasn't even quite sure where to weigh it. But the nub of it is that the parliamentarians, they were asking that they wanted a copy of whatever it is that guy was reading. And I don't think that is an unreasonable expectation to have. If you've come to make a presentation, they would like to see what you are presenting. So I don't think that is beyond the realms of reason. But then, of course, it led to them walking out and the whole thing turned into a bit of a mess. So So you want to contrast that then with the presentation from the Minister of Interior. So it's light and day, isn't it? That's why we say there are only about 2 or so, maybe 3, no more, performing ministers in the Tinubu administration. So there it is right there, the IGP of police. I'm just waiting for something to upload. So I'll play you this last one, and then we move on. This one now speaks to how the Northerners feel that Tinubu is surreptitiously restructuring the country with its policies.
This is opening a new vista, Sheung, with regards to the structure of governance.
There was a big dent on the political status of the president in northern Nigeria. And the average person on the street in northern Nigeria were agitated about this.
Absolutely.
Do you think that this will change anything?
Well, the truth is there has to be a postmortem of this situation if I am sitting within the strategy team of Mr. President. Because the truth is, in the last 1 month or so, the big perception issue that this has created for the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I can tell you, is huge. And I can tell you the political juggernauts in the north deliberately did this to create a situation for 2027, because perception is a key ingredient of politics, like you said. So the government needs to go back also to do some face-saving mechanism and provide reassurances. Don't forget, religious leaders came out and taking very fundamental position on this. Those people at the lower strata of society need to get the right feedback by the APC, if anything. And don't forget, there are states that are governed by opposition party, even though the entire governors forum has bought into this. Albeit within that timeline, the critical stakeholders, which are the citizens, may still not get the gist of the matter.
One thing that is at the heart of the conversation, and there are loads and loads of issues. I'm one person that has gone through, scavenged every part of the bill, read all the pages of the four bills, and not only the legalese or the technicalities, but also what the bottom line, the economics of it in the average person's pocket. But let's look at the issue of the derivation, the formula.
Yes.
If we bring back the formula as agreed today, what is your take? Do you think this will work? Do you think this will serve the purpose for which these those who proposed the committee and what they proposed in the first place? Do you think this new formula will work?
Well, you see, when you are undergoing evolution, one of the crucial things to consider in your strategy is the issue of culture. As Peter Drucker said, the leadership guru, culture will have will have strategy for breakfast. And to address that cultural issue, you have to systematically and strategically bring this constructive disruption. I call it constructive disruption because you are bringing a whooping, sweeping change. And in trying to do this change management, for now, you have proposed as a committee. What they proposed was a proposal. It's a bill that has to be subjected to negotiation. The representatives of the people at the level of state governors have negotiated this. However we want to look at it, there is a constructive disruption. It's not going to be business as usual. Whether you are taking 10 miles now or 1 mile, it presupposes that they have accepted as governors, that they have proposed a negotiation which has been accepted. So they don't have excuse going forward for that. And I'm very sure that will also redefine, governance going forward for the subnationals. Because now they have made a proposal, it has been accepted. Whether we like it or not, it has changed the paradigm, of the current, framework. But let us also move, because it is always pushing us to the position of tax or VAT. Don't forget, it's an omnibus bill. It has to also talk about, the reorganization of our revenue collection mechanism, which has a lot of leakages, and pitholes, which will be addressed by this policy. So going forward, if you look at it wholesome, without, microing the issue to the issue of sharing of VAT, which to my mind is still transactional. We have to look at it from a strategic perspective. And I hope the governors also did that in their negotiation so that they don't look some loopholes that will come and bite them later. Bottom line, you have to start creating value to really make any impact.
If there is any lesson from all of this conversation and this debate, what would that be?
The lesson is, going forward, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must review its communication strategy in how to engage internally and externally. Policy coherence is very key, and for you to achieve policy coherence, the building blocks of policy formulation includes critical stakeholder engagement, gauging this environment, perception management, expectation management of the people in trying to bring something that will be acceptable to all. But the big lesson point is governance will not be business as usual, like I said. Governors after this will have no excuse with regards to what comes to them. Value creation, value elevation, and value protection will be the only way for governors to move forward. Because I was telling people, okay, for those that are saying there shouldn't be reform for tax, what happens if this bill is withdrawn? What are they going to do going forward? Will it change the fortune, for example, of northern Nigeria with regards to how we harness the abundant resources we have, which have not been harnessed up to today? The point is, the future of North or Nigeria will depend on how leaders create value, innovate, and make the necessary impacts, because indeed the political consciousness of Nigerians have changed from 2023, and I'm very sure, as we are seeing it today, the pushbacks will even be more as people understand their rights.
So there it is right there. So there it is right there. So those are our northern brothers then coming into the reality of the change that is taking place in Nigeria. So I'll play the Kegite music. I'll send the link into the comment section, and then we'll see what happens next. Let's look for there they are, the Kegites.
Only water, where they see ma. Hapa you don't come oh. Hapa oh night oh. Oro keke elemu ye o. Ibe shodi ya kekere elemu re o. Obi master kekere elemu re o. Chief Otudeko kekere elemu re o. Eruku lele elemude. Eruku lele egbe elemudodo jare o. Eruku lele Ghana ti de egbe body o. Ọmọ ẹlẹ́yẹ ẹyẹ o òdìlé o. Odúyẹ̀lá ẹyẹ o òdìlé o. Petrosoname ẹyẹ o òdìlé o. Petrosodunke ẹyẹ rẹ òdìlé o. Ẹlẹ́kọ̀ ọ̀run mú ìní o. Àkùkọ ọ̀run mẹ́kọ̀. Ikú kò ní ríwà gbéṣe o.
There it is right there. Ikuko Diru Agbese, may death have nothing to do with us. And by the way, we'll be having a guest joining us on Saturday. Prince Ado Sanusi. We were speaking about his relative just there, Lamido Sanusi. So he will come and speak to us on Saturday. But joining us today, we have Tony Africa. So Tony, it's you and I. Tony, on mute. Tony, are you there?
Yeah. Good evening, sir. I'm just trying to jump into my bed. Yeah, I try to arrange. Okay, hello, sir. What's up?
Yeah, no, not a lot. It's just you and I.
So anyway,
what's going on?
People will come later and they will come. They will turn up. Yeah.
So
how about you, sir?
I do, but it is cyclones.
Yeah, I was expecting okay, did you say the Tinubu's address today, the video that is going further. It's very good.
Is it the one at the UAE, the one they made in?
Yeah, exactly. Did you you have it? I will send it to you.
Yeah, no, send it to me. I was a bit double-minded about playing it or not, but
okay, let me send to you right now. Right away. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, send it to me. When we will play it, and then we'll see if.
I'm trying to split my screen right now to do that.
What are you using? Are you using your phone or? Yeah, I did have it actually, but then I thought maybe it was too long or something. Let me see. There's a place I usually park all these clips. Let me see if I have it parked there. Let's see. Yes, I saw it. It's been circulating since yesterday. Actually, that particular, if it's the same one, it's been circulating since yesterday. Oh yeah, I've got it. I think yeah. Do you have it, Tony, or Tony? Oh, Tony has disappeared on me, or have I even dropped? I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Are you there, Tony? Are you there, Tony? Am I even there? Can people indicate in the comment section if I'm still there? Because Tony is not saying a word. It's been smoking out funny thing again, I suspect. Let's.
Are you hearing my voice now?
No, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you before. Yes.
Sorry. Yes, I'll just try to split it. My screen. Let me see. I'm there right now. No problem.
No, I think I may have it as well. Actually, so I'll just see. I think I may have it.
Yeah, I think right now. I guess here. I got it now, sir. You get it immediately. Where the WhatsApp, sir? Where the WhatsApp?
No. Yes, I think I may have it. That's just the thing.
Okay, now you got it. You got it now. So let me go back to the full screen. Okay, now you have it. Can you check it out? Probably you can play that one. Maybe yeah, you got it.
I have it already. I'm just downloading it now. It's
no, but the one I sent to you can play that direct.
No, just hold on.
Okay.
I'm already uploading it in the studio. So
okay, try to play it so that just a while away the time. You know what I mean? Before other people will come in.
Yeah. I'll play it, and then after it ends, and then if then
yes,
then we may just send it. Yeah. Okay, let me play.
Yes.
Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage His Excellency Bola Tinubu, President of Nigeria. Your Excellency, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to begin by extending my deepest gratitude to the President of the United Arab Emirates, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed bin Sultan Nahyan, for inviting me to this Abu Dhabi Sustainable Week. I thank the government and good people of Abu Dhabi for their generous hospitality and foresight in organizing this event. This week, leaders from all over the world come together to exchange views and perspectives on how we can collectively address the global challenges of our time. The fight against climate change is not merely an environmental necessity, but a global economic opportunity to reshape the trajectory of our continent and the global energy landscape. As leaders, stakeholders, and citizens of our planet, we stand at a crucial and critical junction in human history. To succeed, we must innovate and decisively collaborate as a global community. As Africa's most populous nation and one of its largest economies, Nigeria recognizes its responsibility to demonstrate the required leadership on these matters. We have embraced a vision of sustainability that aligns with global aspiration while addressing the local realities. Our efforts are anchored on 3 pillars: energy transition, climate resilience, and sustainable development. My administration, we recognize the importance of reducing carbon emissions and a just transition to clean and renewable energy, promoting environmental sustainability and economic growth. Our energy transition plan, like many nations, are aimed at diversifying energy sources and reducing our dependency on fossil fuel. Prioritizing the transition to cleaner energy sources as a cornerstone of our national development strategy. Nigeria is committed to achieving a net zero emission by 2060, in line with global climate objectives. We are developing the infrastructure to utilize compressed natural gas and electric vehicles. Nigeria also is investing substantially in energy generation through exploration of efficient and internationally satisfied data required to export our solid mineral and critical metal in support of the green energy transition. Climate resiliency must be achieved. Building resiliency against the adverse effects of climate change is essential for safeguarding our African communities and economies. Nigeria is implementing climate-smart agricultural practices to enhance food security while reducing environmental impacts. The government has approved several development policies such as National Clean Cooking Gas Policy, which is aimed at promoting clean energy, environment, and health benefit and socio-economic development in our region. We believe the sustainable development must be inclusive. We are therefore working tirelessly to ensure that our policies promote equity and social justice, leaving no one behind. Challenges versus opportunities in Nigeria, yes, there are, and there will continue to be challenges. But how do you mitigate that? We face serious challenges, environmental challenges, including deforestation, desertification, coastal erosion, flooding, pollution, and many other negative impacts of climate change. Lake Chad continues to shrink every year. Livelihood of people continue to be threatened. Our government is working with local communities to implement solutions to mitigate these effects and help us build resilience in the face of environmental challenges. To promote a green economy in Africa, we must focus on integrating sustainable practices in all sectors of our economy. These investments are capital intensive in nature, and it required international support from partner countries, including multinational organizations. Developmental partners and individuals who shared our vision of a sustainable, prosperous, and equitable future must be included. Nigeria became the first country in Africa to initiate funding for green projects through sovereign green bond proceeds, the third issuance of which is currently in progress. We urge investors to partner with us in this regard. Our government remains committed to providing an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Harnessing technology and innovation is key to driving sustainable development. Nigeria is increasingly embracing new technologies like clean energy, water conservation, land and forest restoration, waste management, and circular economy. We will partner with global leaders in harnessing the power of technology. We are finding new and innovative ways to address our environmental challenges. We have arable agricultural lands for advanced technological farming, including a brighter future for artificial intelligence. Global collaborations are challenges that we must overcome. And global solution will only be effective if we work together in the spirit of mutual respect and a shared future. Nigerian government believes that sustainable development is not just a national issue, but a global imperative. We must continue to strengthen international cooperation at regional and global levels and mitigate the effects of climate change. Dear esteemed delegates, in addition to everything you've heard in the last few days, the most impactful image that I'm taking away from here is the impact of those children that on the first day waved the banner asking us to stand up, sustain the planet Earth for the future that we want to bequeath unto them. Thank you very much.
That's the best Tinubu speech I've just heard, actually. Not in terms of the content or daughter, is you're actually able to hear and understand what he's saying. Usually it's just bula balu, isn't it? Maybe his injection is starting to kick in. I don't know. What did you make of that?
No, I mean that is excellent. You know what I'm saying. I mean to every Nigerians and every black people, they are so proud of this guy. Unlike the previous cases, ever since Obasa left that seat, you know what I'm saying, like where we are having, have dead bodies, I can't even call some cascas. You know what I'm saying? When all those Benin people, we say what they call it boloko. You know what I'm saying? All those bones, they will just then the other president will be mocking them like, oh, am I standing with a human being? This country is a dead country. So Tinubu cannot implement all those things, but due to the fact that he was able to, that articulation, you know what I'm saying, is those kind of hand when they say they shake the hand, they shake again, you know what I'm saying. So I'm very happy to be seeing him like that. Despite the fact that I know that he's not going to, implement anything. That not only now just go to bar there, now lie there. It's not, we have no government in Nigeria. I should have told them that, okay, as a head of the mafia, I will allow you guys to come and be taking my resources. I mean, what the hell? Who are those mullahs, those malams, those causes of these northerners that are in Oman, Saudi Arabia, those criminals that are buying our people every day, that are murdering people, using them as nannies, enslaving our people? Do you know that people that are living, in Dubai, the black people that are there, do you know that they sleep in the container, cargo container, being placed in some part of the bushes? You see the way these Arabs treat us. You know what I'm saying? But due to the fact that he can stand as a Nigeria president or whatever, but he can speak to the world. I like that. Wama, let me just tell you one thing. Let me digress a bit. I've been reading about Nigeria history and Africa history, Africans, the whole world. You see that people that we should be key into their ideologies are men like Robert Mugabe, and then this guy, Idi Amin, Dada, Atosami. So once the white people are telling that, oh, this your president is no good. He's a corrupt man. He said this. Please, that is your friend. That is a friend of black people. You know what I'm saying? You know, because look, so many videos that I've been watching about them that I will ask the white people to come and visit him. He will build a smaller house, with, a house with a smaller door, so that where the white man can bend down low before he can come into him. This is what yeah.
All right, thank you, Tony. Tony, I think I'm just going to bail out here. Acknowledge the super stars Boston right there.
No, let us go to the other one.
Please. Ja Nzola right there. That's Ayo right there. That's Lato Rich right there. That's Ja Nzola still, and that's Ayo right there. So Tony, just give us a short commentary on anything else, and then yeah.
No, so there's nobody around.
Look, Tony, just you can see on the screen now. So what do you mean there's nobody around? Can you not see?
Okay. I can see, but let us address some of the other issues now, in a very cool way.
But you don't usually say anything about any of these things.
No, I will say it now. I will be
all right. What do you have to say about Sanusi?
Yeah, thank you very much. As for Sanusi, that's a thief. You know what I'm saying? It's a thief. Right. So we see what he did with Jonathan's government. Let us go to tax. The acceptance of those governors.
Right. Yes.
So that we can be a little bit cooler conversation, Yes. Now, because they see that Tinubu, I've already told them that there was no going back. You know what I'm saying? So all they ought to have done is to say, okay, we have accepted it. You know what I'm saying? Or that, but not say that, that there are just some adjustment has been made or whatever. All those adjustments are just try to play some games. That they don't want to accept defeat. You know what I'm saying? They know that they are dealing with their master. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's where they say that they are.
Tony, let me just say to bed that sometimes we have this shortest session. I'm sure tomorrow we'll be back on stream. Let me just end there. All right. Thank you, everyone.